So currently the big topic in terms of classic is TBC right now and how hard it should be. For the little bit of things I want to talk about upcoming, I want to preface it with my experience with TBC to somewhat legitimize my ideas, at least, because I feel like this day and age you kind of have to do that shit. I played about three different private servers, and each private server had its own variability on how difficult the content was. And in one of those iterations of the private server, Karazhan was so hard. And not hard like strategy-wise, like pure numbers. Karazhan was so hard, we had to get near, I think it was up to chess event bis. So like Netherspite, chess, shade. We had to get near chess event bis, at least I did as a tank, to kill Prince Mechazar just because of how hard it was. And it was only because in Phase 2, he has a thrash mechanic, much like the dragons in Blackwing Lair, where they can hit multiple times with a single attack. And sometimes, he just fucking killed you. If you didn't parry one of them, or block enough damage, or have enough armor and health to live, he just killed you. And there was nothing you can do about it. I was running Iron Shield Potion, as much stam as I could get, as much armor as I could get, defense cap, and he just fucking killed you. So until I had nearly Karazhan bis, we couldn't kill the last boss. That's a difficulty of server that I think isn't fun. And that's just numbers. That had nothing to do with how we were playing. It's how many hits did he roll, and did I die in those hits? And if the answer was no, we won. Did we get good RNG on where the Infernals went? Because he had so much health that they would fill the platform because the fight lasted that long? We won. But we weren't winning because we didn't know what to do. We were winning because we finally got good enough RNG with the gear that we had based on the numbers that the boss had. So going into difficulty is a bit of a difficult topic in and of itself, because realistically you have to ask yourself, who is this for? Because that's the real question. Who is TBC for? And Blizzard thinks, well, it's for the main player base that likes the classic style of the game, but it's also for casuals, right? But if you make the introduction raid so hard you can't pug it, that's just going to kill your casual player base. And unfortunately, I've been through this with different games and different styles of games, FPS, RPG, that kind of thing. You need a casual player base to keep the game itself thriving. That's why World of Warcraft, at least in terms of content creation, isn't even that lucrative and isn't even that interesting, because most of the time, a lot of people, they have a large set of content. They make as much content as possible, as early as possible. When a Wowhead post goes up, they make a fucking video about it. World of Warcraft content, this is just a side note, but World of Warcraft content is something I kind of despise, even though I make some World of Warcraft content, because the name of the game is get it out there first, get it out there quick, and just shout your shit, shoot your shot. A lot of it's really bad quality. A lot of it's fucking trash. And most people, even me, watch it because there's nothing else to watch. They ran out of shit to watch. We've been in quarantine for like a fucking year, man. I've been watching the same Bad Weapon Academy by Fish Stick on a Stick Gaming. I've been watching that. I've been rewatching a bunch of TF2 videos. I've been rewatching Jimmy and Swampletics. I've been rewatching all kinds of shit. Is it worth it? BuzzFeed shit. Like, just as a side tangent, WoW content is pretty fucking boring and pretty fucking repetitive in terms of YouTube content. That's why if I make something, I'd rather be kind of different, like this video. But back to the topic at hand. The issue with TBC and its difficulty is in terms of mechanical difficulty, it's not hard. And on top of it not being hard, we know the boss mechanics. We know how to set it up. We've had guides for nearly a fucking decade on how to kill these bosses. Could there be some new-ish strats? Yeah, sure. But these bosses are known. Could you have maybe comp variants? Maybe, but most of the time, if you're looking for a pretty strong composition, you want to bring each of the buffs. Generally, some people might bring a rogue just for tier gear, but even then, rogues are kind of shitty. Because if you bring a rogue, they have MPA, which, for those who don't know, it's Imp Expose Armor. But if you expose armor on a target, it reduces more armor than Sunder does. However, when you do that, warriors don't get the Sunder bonus for Devastate, meaning they do less threat, which means that the hunters, even perma MDing the main tank, might not be getting enough threat that people can actually blast, meaning that rogues might be a raid DPS loss overall because the main warrior tank can't keep threat. So maybe you run a druid and a paladin tank instead of a rogue, instead of a warrior tank, because you're running a rogue. Do they do enough threat with the rogue? Maybe, maybe not. Do you need a warrior potentially for certain design mechanics like Illidan Shear? Maybe, maybe not. Another warrior in the party can intervene to the tank, so he takes the sheer hit instead of the warrior, making the warrior or the druid or the pally, making it so that they don't take that negative reduced percent HP and they can still live in the fight. Like, the shit is figured out, man. It's solved. You run 5 shamans, 1 for each group. Why? Bloodlust. Pretty simple. 2 enhance, 1 or 2 Ellies, 1 or 2 resto. Generally, you have 1 perma Ellie, and then 1 that goes Ellie or resto, depending on what you need. So you have lust for every group. You have the shamans in the hunter group drop Agi Totem, so the hunters get buffed. 2 BMs and you generally have 2 BM hunters and a survival to buff the BM hunters even more. And potentially even if you're running a feral, you run the feral druid in that group to give them the crit buff to make them better too. Like, we know this shit's been figured out, right? This shit's been figured out. And I even have, I'll show you here. Make sure it's on. Yeah. This is a video I was thinking about making, which is TBC Warrior Prebis gear. Like, there's probably going to be a lot of warriors. There might not be a lot of spots, but there are going to be a lot of warriors, right? This set of gear is good and you can get from only quests. This is quest-only gear that you can get. Some require dungeons, some require group quests, but just quests. And I'm like, oh, I'll make this, but why would I make this, dude? Why am I going to make this when there's going to be 8 billion other fucking videos? Get your pre-bis here. This is your pre-bis. I'm going to outline it. I'm going to tell you everywhere you need to go. I'm going to tell you exactly where you need. It's going to be a 30-minute video telling you that to get the Demolisher Blazers and the Flesh Lies, you have to go to below the Mana Forge in the northeastern side of Netherstorm, and there's a cave, but you can only get to it by going around the western side of the Mana Forge because there's no other entrance, because it's a cave entrance on the lower side, and there's a cliff below it, so you have to go from the western side. But like, I don't want to make that fucking video, dude. This shit's figured out. We figured this shit out. And this isn't just me. And this isn't even crafted gear. And people know about crafted gear. They know how good it is, you know? So we're going into TBC knowing everything. And the bigger issue is a lot of people are thinking about TBC and even thinking about how Karazhan looks and how Grolls looks. Dude, people aren't even running the right gear. The template characters they gave us, we can't even run the right stuff. I'm wearing a full of the bold set with multiple fucking tank trinket, with multiple, not trinkets, but multiple tank items on my DPS warrior, and we're still crushing it. And that's without Lionheart Champion crafted gear. That's without Kodo hide leggings. It's without breastplate of a doll. Like, that's without all of these amazing items that increase your DPS a shitload. And that's for every single class. So even if there's some difficulty right now on the PTR, it's going to be even easier when people have all these BIS lists and all this information. Like, we know what's going to happen. We know what's good. We know what's good. Right? In the name of the game, in terms of enjoyment, is you either make the game so efficient that it's not fun anymore, or the fun is in the efficiency. And that's what it's turned into. And that alienates the casual player base. And you, like I said, you need the casual player base. For a game to survive, you need it. You might not like it, but you need the casual player base. So, to wrap it all up, for how difficult should TBC really be? And the difficulty is going to come down to literal numbers. Health values, armor values, damage values, ability values. It's not going to come from strats. Most people have already figured out what the best composition they want to run is, and you're not even going to need to run that best composition. Even though the community is going to make it a guideline to be that efficient, you're not going to need that. You're not going to need that. It's going to be a waste of time. You can run like 4 fucking warriors if you want to, and still do it. You can run 4 warriors in Karazhan and still do it. You're not going to need that shit. But people are going to do it anyway. Because that's what the players do. And one of the important things a game dev can do is save the player from themselves. Save the player from themselves. Because right now, because of all this information, changes I would like to see are changes that would save the players from themselves. I feel like I'm standing right next to some of my teammates and drums still don't hit. Save me from that. Just give us the 40-yard range drums, if you're going to have drums in the game at all. Save us from that hassle. Because it's pointless. It's not fun. They should stop focusing, and the community as a whole should stop focusing on how difficult it should be and how much fun can we have, right? What do you want to play that's fun? Do you want to do Karazhan with only paladins because you can tank, heal, and DPS as paladin? For fun? Fuck it. Have fun, dude. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about optimization. I love that shit. I'm currently mythic rating in retail. Optimization's the name of the game. The covenants and all those systems are pretty fun for a warrior because we have so many variable options. And we have so much shit coming on the PTR, we don't even know what's good right now. Could be anything. It's great. It's fun. But before I continue like on a stupid tangent, because trust me, I will. I love talking about this shit. I think that in terms of changes, they should keep it fun. They should try and keep it as fun as they can for everybody. And while that is a casual mindset, I think it's a mindset that lends itself to older games like this because, like I said, it's solved. It's figured out. And at this point, even if they changed it, even if they nerfed hunters into the ground, we would find out what's better and just do that. The player base is going to do that. So, saving the players from themselves in terms of ruining the enjoyment of the game on like little shit is, I think, improvements they should really look at compared to how hard they should make things, because no matter how hard it is, the good players are going to kill it. The bad players are going to struggle. And the real question is the meat of the player base, the casual player base, that middle. You want them there. And if it's too difficult, just because it could be just so difficult that they don't have the numbers for it, they're just going to leave. And it's going to just slowly dwindle. And it's just going to suck. because the biggest part of an MMO is the multiplayer, the massive multiplayer online. Every part of the word MMO revolves around the people, and if there's no people, there's no fun. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.